Picture this: a tiny medieval city in the heart of Flanders, where cobblestone streets wind past stepped-gable houses that have not changed in 500 years, where swans glide silently along canals that mirror the sky, where a bell tower has been ringing over the same square since the 1200s, and where the best chocolate, the best beer, and the best French fries in the world are all somehow made in the same tiny town. Welcome to Bruges, Belgium's medieval fairy tale. The city most travelers see for a single day, and the ones who linger never forget. Today we're heading to northwestern Belgium, to a small city of just over 118,000 people in the Flanders region, Bruges. Once one of the wealthiest trading cities in medieval Europe, when it sat at the very center of Flemish cloth and northern European commerce. Then in the 15th century, its main river silted up, ships could no longer reach the port, and Bruges quietly fell asleep. For 400 years, the city stood almost frozen in time. Today, that accident of history is Bruges' greatest gift to the world. An entire medieval city, almost perfectly preserved, declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and one of the most magical places to visit anywhere in Europe. If you love discovering hidden corners of the world like this, hit that subscribe button. Every week we take you somewhere most travelers fly over, but those who land never forget. So grab your tea, settle in, and let me take you on a journey through Belgium's medieval fairy tale. Our journey begins in the grand central square of the city, the Markt. For nearly 800 years, this vast open square has been the beating heart of Bruges. In the 1200s, it was already a major European trading market. Merchants from Italy, England, Germany, Spain, and Scandinavia gathered here to trade Flemish wool, French wine, and Baltic amber. Today, the merchant stalls are gone, but the medieval guild houses that line the square still stand, painted in shades of red, ochre, and cream, with their distinctive stepped gables pointing to the sky. Rising above everything, dominating the entire skyline of Bruges, stands the Belfry, the Belfry Tower. Built between 1240 and 1487, it towers 83 meters into the sky. And climbing its 366 narrow, winding stone steps is one of the essential Bruges experiences. The climb is not easy. The stairwell is genuinely tight. Passing groups going in opposite directions requires patience. But the reward at the top is one of the finest views in medieval Europe. All of Bruges spreads out below you. Red rooftops, church spires, the winding canals, and in the distance, the flat green fields of Flanders stretching to the horizon. The tower still holds a working 47-bell carillon, one of the finest in Europe. Time your visit to hear the bells ring out over the city. This is Bruges announcing itself, exactly as it has for 700 years. This is the Markt, and it's only the beginning. Nearly every visitor to Bruges eventually finds themselves at the same place. Rozenhoedkai, the Rosary Quay, almost certainly the most photographed spot in all of Belgium. Stand at this small stone corner where two canals meet. Look up at the medieval stepped-gable houses reflected in the still water. Watch as a small tour boat glides silently around the bend. If you have ever seen a postcard of Bruges, you have seen this view. The best way to truly understand this city is from the water. Half-hour canal boat tours depart continuously from 4 small docks around the city. The guides tell stories in 3 or 4 languages, pointing out hidden chapels, secret gardens, and the medieval water gates that once controlled trade. Passing under low stone bridges, gliding past medieval houses whose foundations still rise directly from the canal walls, you begin to understand what 15th century Bruges must have felt like. Just beyond the tourist center, the Beguinage, a tranquil complex of small white houses arranged around a green courtyard filled with daffodils in spring. Founded in the 1200s as a residence for Beguines, unmarried lay religious women, it is now home to a small community of Benedictine nuns. Walk quietly. Even the swans on the pond outside seem to whisper. Nearby lies Minnewater, the Lake of Love, a small, quiet pond ringed by weeping willows, home to a graceful population of white swans. Legend says a curse from a 15th century emperor requires the city to maintain swans on this water forever. 700 years later, the swans are still there. A block from the Markt lies the second great square of Bruges, the Burg. Where the Markt was the commercial heart of medieval Bruges, the Burg was its political and spiritual soul. On one side stands the Stadhuis, the 14th century city hall, with its stunning Gothic facade and interior Gothic hall painted with murals of Flemish history. Beside it, the Palace of the Liberty of Bruges, once the seat of the medieval regional government. But the most sacred building in Bruges hides in the corner of the Burg, the Basilica of the Holy Blood. From the outside, it appears small, almost easy to miss. Step inside, and you find one of the most remarkable religious sites in Northern Europe. Built in 2 levels. The lower chapel of St. Basil is a stark, silent, 12th century Romanesque chamber. The upper chapel, rebuilt in flamboyant Gothic style, glows with color and stained glass and ornate carving. But it is what the basilica contains that matters most. A tiny crystal vial, brought back from the Second Crusade in the 12th century, said to contain drops of Christ's blood on a piece of cloth. Every year on Ascension Day, this relic is carried through the streets of Bruges in the procession of the Holy Blood, a UNESCO-recognized event that has been held here since the 1200s. Whether or not you believe, the atmosphere inside the basilica is quiet, ancient, and deeply moving. By the way, if you have ever visited a place that felt frozen in time, tell me about it in the comments below. I'd love to hear where. You cannot know Bruges without eating and drinking through it. Start with Belgian chocolate. Bruges has over 50 chocolate shops in its tiny old town, more per capita than almost any city on Earth. Skip the tourist chains selling milk chocolate seashells and seek out the artisan chocolatiers. The chocolate line. Dumont, Suikerboek. Each handcrafts small batches of pralines, ganaches, and truffles that will genuinely change what you think chocolate can taste like. Belgian beer is a UNESCO-recognized cultural tradition. Bruges is home to De Halve Maan, the last active family-owned brewery inside the medieval Old Town, brewing the legendary Bruges Zout and Straffe Hendrik. Sit in their brewery tavern. Order a Bruges Zout Blonde, poured properly with the perfect 1-inch foam. This is beer as culture. Try the great Belgian classics. Moules frites, a huge pot of steamed mussels served with a mountain of golden fries and mayonnaise. Vlaamse stoufvlees, slow-cooked beef stew braised in Belgian beer and served with more fries. Waterzooi, a creamy chicken and vegetable stew from Ghent, popular throughout Flanders. And do not leave without the Belgian fries. Frites. Sold from small stands called frituren all over the city, served in a paper cone with your choice of sauce. Mayonnaise, Andalus, Samurai. The Belgians consider these a national treasure, and after one bite, you'll agree. The famous Belgian waffles are perfect for late afternoons. 2 types. The lighter rectangular Brussels waffle, the denser, sweeter Liège waffle made with pearl sugar caramelized in the batter. Try both. Compare. Judge for yourself. Bruges is small, but it is a perfect base for exploring some of the most charming corners of Belgium. Just 25 minutes east by train lies Ghent, Bruges' larger, edgier sister city, home to the mighty Gravenstein Castle, the striking Cathedral of St. Bavo housing the Ghent altarpiece, and a thriving university student energy that Bruges lacks. If Bruges is a fairy tale, Ghent is where the fairy tale grew up. Just 10 minutes north of Bruges by bicycle or car lies Damme, a tiny village of 600 people, once Bruges' medieval seaport before the water silted. Today, Damme is a peaceful stop of medieval churches, a working windmill, and second-hand bookshops. Cyclists ride here along a straight tree-lined canal path, one of the most photographed cycling routes in Belgium. Push further north and you reach the Belgian North Sea coast. Oostend, Damme, Heist. Long, wide, sandy beaches, historic seaside promenades, seafood restaurants, and the famous Belgian coastal tram, the longest tram line on Earth, running for nearly 70 kilometers along the coast. On a warm day, you can bike from Bruges to the beach in under an hour. For a longer trip, Brussels sits an hour to the south by train, and Amsterdam lies just 3 hours to the north. Bruges is genuinely one of the best small city bases for exploring the entire Benelux region. And that is Bruges. A city that time forgot in the best possible way. Where medieval stones still whisper of merchants and monks. Where chocolate and beer are treated with the seriousness of high art. A place that stays with you long after you leave. If this gave you wanderlust, hit that subscribe button. Every week we take you to a new hidden corner of the world. The places most travelers fly over, but the ones who land here never forget. Next time, we're heading east. Way east. To a small country in the Caucasus Mountains, where wine has been made for 8,000 years, where centuries-old monasteries perch on cliff edges, where every guest is welcomed like family. And where one of the most extraordinary undiscovered travel destinations on Earth is waiting for those brave enough to find it. Welcome to Georgia, the cradle of wine. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. In the meantime, drop a comment below. What's the one place on Earth you're most dreaming of visiting? I read every single one. I'll see you there.